I'm just going to give you an update here on this parade, March for Justice. First off, I have to say the response from the Unionist community has been next to none. It has just been unbelievable, the support we're getting. From people in wheelchairs and crutches, you name it. The phone calls, the emails, the Facebook, there is a lot of support out there for what we're doing. But there's a few points here I want to raise. First off, there's been meetings held by so-called representatives of our own, when I say our own, the Unionist community, along with people from a Republican background and nationalist politicians, to see what they can do to counteract this march for justice. So I've spoken to the bands, and indeed it just shows the bands and the people who run these bands are very sensible people. And indeed they themselves have realised that there is an attempt out there to try and demonise this march because the bands are taking part in it. They have made the decision that perhaps, Willie, it is better we go along as just ordinary members of the community. So all these dirty meetings is going on behind our backs, and these people trying to make these decisions on our behalf. Well, we make our own decisions. And I have to give credit here to the bandsmen. They have said, well, for this march, we think it is better maybe if the bands didn't take part, so not to take it away from the victims. Not to let people take the message away about why we're there in the first place, and that is the march for justice. There's been a major attempt to try and close Fair down in South Armagh. They have tried everything they can, and I'm not going to get into who's behind it, but I will say this: if we have to put a tent up in a field and operate out of a tent, we will do it. And where there's an injustice, for an example, in South Armagh there's an injustice. This is why we're holding the march, to demand that we get recognition of what is taking place in South Armagh. Yes, we are going back to Dublin. They're coming down here, they're demanding inquiries into the likes of the Pat Finucane murder. But Pat Finucane was an IRA man. A number of his family were IRA men, known killers. But the Irish government see fit to come down here to demonise our security forces, while at the same time they will not even answer a letter that we have sent on numerous occasions asking for a meeting on the issue of, for an example, 500 guns. The Irish government gave the IRA 500 guns at the start of the Troubles in Donegal. They set up training camps. They supplied safe havens for the terrorists. And then they have the cheek to come down here to tell us that we need to give an inquiry to a IRA man. Why do you think we're going to Dublin? We're going because we are sick to the back teeth of these people trying to justify the actions of terrorists. The Maze, we're in the process of organising a march at the Maze, a protest march, and we will have the bands there because it can offend nobody. They have let the prisoners out of the jail, so we can't offend them by holding a march. But we're not going to let this shrine be built there without objection. If this place wasn't as important to them as what they say, why not knock the hospital wing down? No. The hospital wing is part of what the IRA want to tell as their freedom fighters give their lives. And basically what they were was a bunch of criminals who were forced to starve themselves to death because the IRA were threatening their families outside of the prison if they come off it. That's the reality. That's the true story. We will not sit back and allow that to be writ. And we intend to organise a march for justice at the Maze prison as well, and we will be inviting as many bands as we can get to go to that. Not to create trouble, but to raise the point that we do not accept it. We've spoken to the USC, who were approached and asked to partake in the shrine. They're taking nothing to do with it. They can't be bought off. And I have spoken to people from within the UDR, and thank God they have said they will take nothing to do with it either. They cannot be bought off. And I believe the RUC will be the same. I have to be truthful, I haven't got speaking to anybody there yet, so I can't answer for them. But I believe that they will be the same. They will not want to be part of this shrine at the maze. So this is what we intend to start. We will march where there's an injustice. We will march. Let it be 5, let it be 500, or let it be 5,000 of us. We will march. There's been a major attempt to discredit this organisation. They've had police investigations, PPS investigations. They have had different investigations which have turned up nothing. They have tried to dirty our name. But in doing that, they're trying to dirty the name of our loved ones. And we will not accept that. We will not sit back and let that happen. And people have said to me, Willie, you have to take your health and all into consideration. My health, with the help of the Lord, is getting better. And what comes first here is the right of the Ulster people to have justice and to decide their own future. If you can let murderers out onto the streets, if you can give pardons to mass murderers, don't tell us you can't sort out funding for the victims in South Armagh. Even if we had done something wrong, which we haven't, don't tell us that you can let mass murderers out and you can give them millions upon millions of pounds. But, Fair didn't do this right, or Fair didn't do that right, so we can stop their funding. It is all about getting rid of Fair, but let me tell you this, you will not get rid of us. The only time you will get rid of Fair is when people like me are in the soil.